Hello, Exiles. It has been a grind. The build, fantastic league starter. After that, the nerfs start to get felt a little bit. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. It's not bad. Like, I'm getting through it just fine, but there's like a checklist of things I needed to do before the build started feeling better and better and better. For starters, getting 10%. Also, my amulet is still garbage, but now it has the essence mod on it at least, so it's garbage with stats. Getting the Clarity Watcher's Eye. This was 2 div because that Watcher's Eye mod is now kind of valuable. Also, kind of limited economy. And then just the Mastery, I got to move out my gloves, so now I have something that has actual resistances in life and defenses and kind of a cheeky fire exposure until Awakened Fire Pen finishes leveling and I get it through there. Most importantly was getting my weapon fixed up. All of these things together, that's minion damage with +1 all physical spell skill gems, and I have the trigger craft on it. The nice thing about this weapon is I could, with the right crafts, I could like scour and retain prefixes and do a multi-mod and get some slightly better suffixes on it, which would be very nice. I could also get, I could multi-mod for trigger craft, and I think this would be best. The It That Fled, her craft, fire damage is chaos, would be a very, very nice little bump that does work on the explosion component of the corpses. So anyway, the build's performing well. I don't really need to say that. It's so damn durable. I mean, it's never been this durable. We didn't used to have all res. That was kind of like just a missing part of the build and we had to deal with it. Should probably turn this on. Speaking of determination being off, if you see any side footage going on, maybe of me fighting Eater or something, a lot of that was done with determination off. I did not realize it was off until I died, which is pretty understandable because I'm missing like half my armor when that thing's off. That's assuming the flask is down, of course. My armor's actually like, yeah, 22k with the flask up. It's not the most armor in the world, but it feels like the most armor in the world when you factor in recoup, mind over matter, kind of just a large base health pool, max block, etc. And now all res. The build doesn't want to die. I've been like flying through maps. I've been picking fights with massive, you know, what is it? Super juiced, extreme archaeology nonsense, and it's not flinching at all to anything. That's the good part. The bad part is the damage is really not anywhere near where it used to be, and I that's to be expected, right? I've gotten up to, what is this now, level 24 on Earth? At level 25, this will reach the efficacy of a level 20 on Earth before. The difference is, you needed 6 levels before in order to get to to level 86 corpses. I'm only gonna need another 3 levels from this point. So, I'm kind of reaching a plateau, but at the same time, things are starting to pull back in my favor. The other big loss we have is the situation with Desecrate. Currently, I have a level 21, and my old Empower is in there. This is a corrupted one that I got for rather cheap. They're less than a Divine right now, a level 3 corrupted one. I'm just leveling this one up because obviously I've got a shot at potentially corrupting it into a level 4 and saving myself a boatload of money. I need to buy a level 21 Desecrate because it is only getting one level per level, but you know, 1 corpse level per gem level. That's how you say that. But it is a pretty big impact. The issue, of course, is Desecrate just doesn't really it doesn't do what it used to because we don't have Spectre Banks, and that's the real, like, that's the double tap nerf to the damage. That said, the build clears just as well as it did. There's maybe a little bit of a pain point with when you run into something extremely tanky, but otherwise the build it's good. 100% next league, this is probably what I'll league start, and then if I want to play something else, I will use this build to fund that. Because it just does what it does so well, and Kitava's Thirst, even though it became popular, has not like exploded into an incredibly expensive item. So that's very good. I don't even have Detonate Dead at level 21. I probably need to do that, to be honest. I believe you get a little bit more corpse scaling if you do that, and I should, obviously. I want to finish my Recombinator and just town stuff so that I can smash together Essence Mod with +1 Fizz or all gems on an amulet, and that'll be another huge boost. I need to get, obviously, level 4 on both of these, which is expensive, but if I want to see how strong the build actually is with investment, I kind of have to do that. Luckily, I'm still having fun with the game, even though this is kind of like a weird temporary league situation. My gear is still largely kind of not the most amazing. I mean, it's good enough, don't get me wrong, like it gets the job done. I'm positive on Chaos Res, all of my resistances are healthy. I've got an okay amount of armor. I would love to get like my boots upgraded to like Paladin Boots base, which I didn't want to do before because obviously this gives me a lot of resistance, but I'm not as starved for resistance as I was anymore. My jewelry could definitely be a little better. And then getting like a +2 weapon somewhere way down the line would be amazing, or +2 amulet. Those are such pipe dreams, though. I almost don't want to do that because it's a little unrealistic. Getting a +1 with the Essence mod is kind of good enough, I think, just to see like a reasonable endpoint for the build. And then maybe in the ultra long term, I upgrade my body armor. Because this could be a lot better too. And if I could get that with like a physical damage reduction suffix, I could take this into T17s. Because I'm pretty sure the tankability of the build is so high right now that even though my DPS is going to be low, the bosses will be pretty easy just because they won't be able to kill me. Well, I mean, they won't be able to kill me as long as I don't do something stupid. They are T17 bosses after all. But yeah, that's all. Real quick one. I hope, you know, I've got stuff playing on the side. I recorded some mapping footage and a little bit of a neater kill just to give you an idea of where it's at. It's still very strong. This is not even a little bit a bad build. If they give me anything forthcoming in the next few patches, which I hope they do, please, GGG. How about Transfigured Unearth with better corpse scaling? I'm going to be over the moon because this build does not need a lot to go back to where it was. It's actually pretty much still just as good. The DPS isn't as good, but the tankiness gain more than makes up for it. It's even easier to get block cap now. I mean, I used to have to put tattoos on the build. I don't do that anymore. There's no tattoos on the build. We've got so many things coming together. We've got, I mean, the max res is the big thing. That's like a little more than 20% less damage taken to like all elements, basically, compared to what we were at before. And that's one of the things that kind of makes it feel silly at times. I've been having fun though. I hope you're enjoying these updates, especially if you're someone who's played the build and you're probably like, well, I can't really play that anymore because they nerfed the damage. No, you really, really can. It depends on what you want to get out of it, of course, but if you like have a build in mind and you're like, well, I can't start that, this is a great build to start in the interim, because once you get Kitava's Thirst, you're there. I mean, you saw it before. I didn't have a 6-link. I didn't have my 6-link Unearth setup when I did like the campaign Eater and Exarch. It got there just fine. It gets through 16s on just your 4-link gloves and 4-link helmet. Pretty good, especially considering Kitava's is not that expensive. You get an essence on any old amulet. The build gets so much kind of incidental resistances from the tree that it's very easy to gear. I am currently running 2 mana flasks right now though. And honestly, this is one of those things that's kind of weird, but I think I'm going to recommend because I don't need a lot of life flask. But these are kind of a big deal. Having one for general use and then one for like killing something while there's a lot of incoming damage that's on a faster, see, it's on a faster rate, but it's not as efficient, really helps. Also, just when you're fighting a really extended boss, sometimes you have to lean on your mana flasks to keep things like flowing smoothly. I could kill a bigger boss without a mana flask at all, but there might be times when my mana kind of skitches out, and that's not the best. But we don't want to push our mana too high either, because we want to keep the unearth cost as low as possible. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching.